recognize myself to begin questions for 5 minutes, and I have limited time, so I want to start with a simple yes or no question, and I'm going to hold you all to that because after the first question, then we'll allow for a little more time. But Mayor Johnston, in 2017, Denver prohibited city officials, including corrections officers, from assisting and cooperating with any investigation, detention, or arrest procedures related to federal immigration laws. The city also stated that federal immigration authorities shall not be granted access or allowed to use the secure areas of any city or county jail. Mayor Johnston, is Denver a sanctuary city?
Folks, welcome back to Right View Nation. Today we're diving into something that should have every red-blooded American fired up. James Comer just put some of the biggest sanctuary city mayors on the hot seat. And let me tell you, these so-called leaders dodged, twisted, and tap-danced around the truth like their political careers depended on it. Spoiler alert, they do. This hearing was supposed to be about one simple thing, whether or not these cities are going to follow federal law and cooperate with ICE. But instead, what we got was a masterclass in evasion and political doublespeak. Let's break it down piece by piece and call it like it is.
A lot of folks use that term.
Yes or no?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Folks use that term differently. I can tell you what Denver does. We do not.
Okay, I take that as a yes. Mayor Johnson, no, yes or no? I take that as a yes. Mayor Johnson, on March 10th, 2023, you posted on X that Chicago must lead and live by the promise to be a sanctuary city. Is Chicago a sanctuary city?
A 40-year policy of being a welcoming city.
Yes.
A 40-year policy of a welcoming
yes.
city.
Mayor Wu, in November 2024, you gave an interview noting that you served on the city council a decade ago when the Boston Trust Act was first passed. You said in that interview that in terms of Boston's policy, there is a prohibition on resources and personnel going to enforce civil immigration detainers, meaning Boston police and other departments cannot cooperate with ICE when it comes to detaining on civil warrants. Mayor, is Boston a sanctuary city?
Boston is a safe city.
I take that as a yes. And Mayor Adams, on November 12, 2024, you said, quote, this is a sanctuary city, but I must comment that you have, of the witnesses today of the major cities, you have publicly stated that you were willing to work with ICE on detaining the most criminal illegals, and I want to publicly thank you for that. But my question to you, sir, is New York City a sanctuary city?
Based on our classification, yes.
Okay. Last year, in a Boston suburb, an illegal alien raped and impregnated his 14-year-old daughter while living in a shelter for illegal aliens. Mayor Wu, under Boston law, would you turn this criminal over to ICE on a detainer?
Whenever there's a criminal warrant, Boston police enforce that and hold people accountable.
So would you turn that criminal over to ICE?
This happened outside the city of Boston, but I can tell you in the city, whenever someone commits a crime, whenever there's a criminal warrant, we hold them accountable. If ICE deems that they are dangerous enough to obtain a criminal warrant, and the Boston police will enforce it.
Will you turn that criminal over to ICE?
We follow the laws, and we make sure that everyone.
In Chicago, an illegal alien who is a suspected member of a violent foreign gang who was brought into custody for his potential involvement in a murder. He was released when Cook County declined to press charges. This illegal alien is also facing charges for kidnapping and sexually assaulting his former girlfriend last year. Now he's on the streets. Mayor Johnson, under Chicago law, would you turn this criminal over to ICE on a detainer?
Our local law enforcement works hard every day to get criminals off the streets of Chicago.
Would you turn that criminal over to ICE? That's the problem. That's one of the topics of this conversation. That's one of the problems we've heard from Tom Hammond and from the Homeland Security is that in your cities, when someone's apprehended for a crime and ICE is now with this new federal policy wanting to come in and deport the criminal alien, that you will not cooperate with ICE. Will you turn that criminal over to ICE?
And we do not harbor criminals. Our local police department works hard every single day to ensure that the city of Chicago is
yes
safe.
Or no? Will you turn the criminal over to ICE?
With a criminal warrant from the federal government, our local law enforcement repeatedly collaborates with federal agents.
So you're saying publicly today, you will turn that alien over to ICE in a safe place like a jail and not turn him out on the street and say, here you go, ICE, good luck. You will turn that criminal over to ICE.
With a criminal warrant, as we have done for 40 years.
Should that criminal be turned over to ICE?
With a
Mayor?
criminal warrant, they are subject to the federal laws, and that includes deportation.
My time has expired, but again, the point that we've got to iron out today is that we have to have cooperation. It is federal law to turn over those illegal criminals to ICE. And we have heard reports, and many of you have said publicly, that you are going to obstruct that. That is against the law, and we're going to hear more about that today. Now,
First up, Denver Mayor Mike Johnston. Comer asked him a simple yes or no question. Is Denver a sanctuary city? And what does he do? He starts dancing around the definition, saying that folks use that term differently. Sir, let me help you out. When your city refuses to cooperate with federal immigration authorities, when you prevent ICE from even stepping foot inside your jails, you are a sanctuary city, period. But of course, Comer had to pull the truth out of him like pulling teeth, and this is just the first of many weak responses we're about to hear. Oh, here we go. Welcoming city. That's the nice, feel-good phrase they use instead of saying what they really mean. We're going to ignore federal immigration laws, put American citizens at risk, and protect illegal criminals because it fits our political agenda. When Comer pressed Mayor Johnston about whether he would turn over violent criminals to ICE, what did we get? A whole lot of dodging. Our local law enforcement works hard. Yeah? Then why is Chicago overrun with crime? If your law enforcement is so tough, why is your city making national headlines for lawlessness? Simple answer, because the people in charge refuse to enforce the law where it matters most. And then we have Mayor Wu from Boston. Boston is a safe city. Lady, Boston can't even keep its own citizens safe, let alone illegal aliens. And when Comer asked her about a specific case, a horrifying crime where an illegal immigrant raped and impregnated his own daughter, she just kept repeating that they follow the law if there's a criminal warrant. But that's the point. ICE's detainer requests are part of the law, yet cities like Boston actively block them. And look at New York City. At least Mayor Adams was honest enough to admit they're a sanctuary city. But even then, we're hearing the same nonsense. We only work with ICE in extreme cases. What does that even mean? Shouldn't every violent criminal who is in this country illegally be turned over to ICE? What about protecting American citizens first? Listen, folks, this isn't complicated. Sanctuary cities are dangerous. When local governments refuse to work with ICE, they are willfully putting American citizens at risk. The entire point of immigration law is to protect our country, our families, our communities. But these mayors, they care more about illegal immigrants than they do about you. And it's not just about immigration, it's about law and order. If you refuse to enforce immigration law, what's stopping you from refusing to enforce other laws? These sanctuary city policies don't just let illegal immigrants walk free. They create a culture where criminals know they won't face consequences. Now, James Comer made one thing very clear. It is federal law to cooperate with ICE. And yet, these mayors are acting like they have the power to pick and choose which laws they want to follow. That's not how this works. If any of us ignored federal law, we'd be in handcuffs. But because these politicians are backed by the radical left, they get away with it. Enough is enough. It's time for Americans to wake up and demand accountability from our local leaders. If your city is a sanctuary city, you need to be at every town hall, every city council meeting, and every election making your voice heard. Because the politicians sitting in those offices today sure as hell aren't looking out for you. Folks, this is about the survival of our nation. Without borders, without laws, we don't have a country. And I don't know about you, but I refuse to sit back and let these radical leftists destroy the America that so many have fought and died for. If you stand for law and order, if you stand for America first, hit hit that like button, share this video, and drop a comment below. Let's make some noise and send a message. Cities must go, and it's time we put Americans first.